Section 1.5, subtracting integers. Subtracting integers. When subtracting numbers, pay very close attention to the sign on the numbers. The sign will tell you exactly what operation you will be using to evaluate the expression. Note the various rules below. When subtracting numbers with the same signs, keep the common sign and add the numbers. For example, -10 is being combined with the -4. That is going to give me a -14. Why? Here, 10 is negative and so is 4. Therefore, the signs are alike. So add 4 to 10, which is 14, and the 14 will take on a negative sign because both the 10 and the 4 are negative. 15, positive 15 is being combined with the -10. Here the signs are unlike. Therefore, we are going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. Okay? Here the 10 is negative and the 15 is positive. Again, the signs are unlike, so I'm going to take 10 from 15, which is 5. The 5 will take on the sign of the larger number, which in this case is 15. Therefore, the 5 is positive. When subtracting numbers with like and unlike signs, and there is a subtraction sign in the middle of the expression, first, the subtraction sign beside that sign says to change that number into an opposite, also known as a double negative, and double negative becomes positive. For example, 5 is being subtracted by a -2. Double negatives here. Therefore, this needs to be changed to become 5 positive 2. Now both the 5 and the 2 are positive, which makes the signs alike. Therefore, we add and keep the common sign, which will give me 7. Another example. First step is to change the double negatives to positive. I have -13 being subtracted by a -5. First step, change the signs to a positive. So now I have -13 being combined with a positive 5 now, which means I have unlike signs. Therefore, I'm going to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. I will get a result of -8. Once again, back to evaluating expressions. 3x -2y when x equals -1 and y equals 1. I'm going to substitute in -1 for x and 1 for y. That looks like this. Here I have two numbers that are directly beside a parenthesis, which is an indicator of multiplication. So we will do that first. So 3 times -1 is -3. And -2 times 1 is -2. Both the 3 and the 2 are negative. Same signs, add and keep the common sign, which will give me -5. Section 1.6, multiply integers. Multiplying or finding the product of integers. The product of two numbers with the same sign is a positive number. Therefore, a positive number multiplied by a positive number is a positive number. For example, positive times positive equals a positive. Here you have a positive 2 being multiplied by a positive 3, which is a positive 6. Once again, positive times positive is a positive. The product of two numbers with the same signs is a positive number. Therefore, a negative number multiplied by a negative number is a positive number. A negative times a negative is a positive. Here you have a -4 being multiplied by a -5. Both the numbers are negative. Therefore, multiplication, a negative times a negative is also a positive. So therefore, the result here is a positive 20. The product of two numbers with unlike signs is a negative number. Therefore, a positive number multiplied by a negative number is a negative number. Positive times a negative is a negative. Here, you have a positive 7 being multiplied by a negative 3, which is a negative 21. Once again, the product of two numbers with unlike signs is a negative number. Therefore, a positive number multiplied by a negative number is a negative number. Negative times a positive is a negative. Here, you have a negative 8 being multiplied times a positive 5, which is a negative 40. When evaluating expressions, sometimes a number will be raised to a power. That number raised to that power says how many times that number is multiplied by itself. Please pay close attention as to whether that number is within or not within parentheses. If a number is within the parentheses, then both the sign and that number is raised to the power. If a number is not within parentheses, then only the number is raised to that power. Example, 2 to the second power equals 4. Why? Because you got a positive 2 being raised to the second power, which is a positive 2, times a positive 2, which is a positive 4. Here, you have a negative 2 to the second power. Why? You have the negative sign and the 2 both within parentheses, which says to multiply negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. Here, you have 2 being raised to the second power, but the negative sign will not be included, which is why the answer is a negative 4. Therefore, all you're doing here is multiplying a positive 2 times a positive 2, but you're keeping the negative sign, which is why the result is negative 4. Recap. The product of like signs. Recap. The product of unlike signs. Dividing or finding the quotient of integers. When dividing numbers, pay very, very, very close attention to the sign on the numbers. The sign will tell you exactly what operation you will be using to evaluate the expression. Positive divided by positive is a positive. The division of two numbers with the same sign is a positive number. Therefore, once again, a positive number divided by a positive number is a positive number. For example, positive 14 divided by positive 2 is positive 7. The division of two numbers with the same sign is a positive number. Therefore, a negative number divided by a negative number is a positive number. Negative divided by negative equals a positive. Here we have a negative 15 being divided by a negative 3, which is a positive 5. The division of two numbers with unlike signs is a negative number. Therefore, a positive number divided by a negative number is a negative number, and vice versa. Positive divided by negative equals a negative. For example, positive 12 divided by negative 4 is a negative 3. negative divided by a positive is a negative. Here we have a negative 20 divided by a positive 10, which is a negative 2. Negative 2. Note, when dividing any number negative or positive into 0, the result is 0. For example, 0 divided by plus or minus 9, meaning the number could be either a positive or negative, does not matter, but when dividing a number into 0, the result is 0. Note, when dividing any number negative or positive by 0, the result is undefined. For example, plus or minus 9, meaning the 9 or could be a positive or negative, does not matter, but 0 is in the denominator. Whenever 0 is in the denominator, that is called undefined. 0 cannot divide into anything. Note, when multiplying any number negative or positive, any expression, no matter how small or big, by 0, the result is 0. For example, as you can see here, it does not matter how big this expression is. It looks very big. However, 0 is being multiplied by all of it. Therefore, the answer is going to be 0. Here's a quick recap of what we just discussed when it comes to the signs of division. A positive divided by positive is a positive. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Positive divided by negative is a negative. And a negative divided by a positive is a negative. Find averages. Sometimes in math, you might be asked to find the average of a set of numbers or data. This is very easily done. The sum of all the values is found and then divided by the amount of values given. See the next slides for illustration. Find the average of the numbers 5, -2, 3, -1, and 5. First step is we're going to add all of the numbers together and we're going to eventually divide them by 5. Why 5? Because there are 5 numbers. So as you're going through the process, starting from left to right, combining the numbers together, you're going to get the following results. 5 combined with -2 is 3. Bring everything else down. 3 combined with 3 is 6. Bring everything else down. 6 combined with -1 is 5. Bring everything else down. 5 combined with 5 is 10. Bring everything else down. And finally, 5 divided into 10 gives you a result of 2.